Hello everyone, welcome back to Emergence. I'm Favour.
And I'm Chiamaka.
If this is your first time, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you've been with us, thank you for your love and your support. So today we'll be talking about joy. Joy, joy, joy. Dictionary definition of joy is a feeling of pleasure, a feeling of great delight, a feeling of ecstasy, a feeling of jubilation, happiness. These are the synonyms of joy. So that is what we'll be talking about today. Personally, I've come to realize that there are so many things in this world that can easily take away your joy. So many betrayals, consequences of bad decisions, challenges, ups and downs, so many things that happen that actually steal away someone's joy. And all these have left me to wonder, can one actually be joyful in this world?
The answer is yes, we can be joyful. One mistake we tend to make is we tend to derive our joy from the worldly things, from the things that this world has to offer. But that's a wrong perspective. You're looking at it from a wrong angle. God is the author of joy. God created joy. His joy. We can only derive true joy from God. The psalmist said, "You make known to me the paths of life. You fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." So you can see from this psalm that we only derive joy from being in the presence of God.
Actually, joy is a spirit, like spirit of joy. So it's more like a spirit that comes to dwell inside of you from your continual fellowship and continual stay in the presence of God. The truth is that man in a continual search of joy, he tends to do a lot of things to be joyful.
And this search for joy can be traced down to Adam and Eve. When they dwelled in the presence of God continually, they had this joy. But from the moment they left the garden, from the moment they were chased out of the garden, they lost contact with God. And that's when they began to experience hardship and these things that bring sadness and sorrows and worries. But thankfully, God has opened up His presence to us once more, and we can now live in the presence of God. And if you're in search of joy, don't bother looking at this world. This world cannot offer you joy. Joy comes from God. Like I said, He's the author of joy. It's like a fountain that flows out of Him into His beloved, into His children. And when you get into His presence, when you live in His presence, it's going to come into you. It's going to come into your spirit. It's going to live with you. It's going to dwell in you, and you begin to experience this joy. It begins to flow like a river from the depths of you. When the joy of the Lord comes, it stays. You just know that this joy is not something I'm getting by myself. It's not something that you feel. You know that this is from God. Like, it's asking yourself, why am I joyful? Like, with everything happening, why am I happy? Why am I joyful? That's because it's not coming from you. It's coming from the higher source. It's coming from the altar. So if you're looking for joy, go to God. Begin to fellowship with Him.
Like she said, if you're in search of joy, search no more. Go to God, who is the author of joy, who gives joy. If you tend to trust everything that happens in this life to give you joy, if you tend to focus on them, like focus on friends, your family, your spouse, your teachers, or anybody around you, if you tend to depend on them to make you joyful, to give you joy, you find out that you're only joyful for a moment, like for a time, and then you suck back into any depression or sadness. But if you depend on God, who is the source of joy, the author of joy, you find out that your joy is there, like it stays, it remains. And that can only happen with your continual fellowship in His presence. If you fellowship once in a while with God and spend time with every other person, and you only fellowship with Him like once in a week, how do you want to be joyful? You have to fellowship with Him every day and derive your joy from Him.
Some people have this notion that it's only when they're in church that they are in the presence of God, but no, God's presence is everywhere. He's right there with you. It's now left for you to tap into that presence. It's there for you to be aware of the presence of God, and that can only come from building your fellowship life, your spiritual life, your quiet time. Because these are the things that will help you live in the presence of God. And when you live in the presence of God, you get this joy that flows from being in His presence 24/7.
And like she mentioned, the joy of the Lord is like a river flowing out from us, right? So if you continually fellowship with God, you continually live in His presence, and you have this joy, you find out that you're a carrier of the joy of God everywhere you are. You find out that when you get to a place, no matter how moody the people there are, by the time you get there, you tend to make everyone joyful. You carry a presence. People don't just like no matter what is happening, you remain joyful, you remain peaceful, because nothing takes away that joy. Like when you get to where people are mourning, or where people are sad, or where it seems like the whole atmosphere is just gloomy, or everything just changes because you're there. That you've met people like that, that when they get to a place, the whole atmosphere just changes, people are laughing, joyful. That is what happens when you constantly fellowship in the presence of God, and when you depend on Him for your joy. That is what happens. You become a carrier of His joy. You disseminate this joy everywhere you go to. People also tap into this joy. And also, when you're a joyful person, you find that people can actually walk up to you and ask you, how do you actually remain joyful no matter what is happening? This can also be another means of you telling them about God. Then you can tell them, oh, it's because I fellowship with God, it's because I have God in my life. And if the person is not born again, you lead the person to Christ. So you see that your joy can actually be a means of reaching out to people and drawing people to God. There's this song, the joy of the Lord is my strength. When you have the joy of the Lord, it gives you this inner strength to help you go through life's challenges. And one thing I've noticed is that before the devil attacks, before he strikes you or anything like that, before the devil attacks a believer, he tries to steal the person's joy. By the time he steals your joy, you find out that you're not even motivated to do life. We must make sure that our joy is secured in Christ, that no matter what the devil tries to do, our joy will not be stolen. But because by the time he steals your joy away, sadness comes in, and you tend to isolate yourself from other people, and that includes believers. And we know that an isolated Christian is a prey for the devil. So we should be careful to secure our joy in Christ, remain in continual fellowship with God, remain in His presence, carry His joy everywhere.
So in summary, joy can only be gotten from God, and this joy brings a lot of things. Joy brings strength, joy gives hope to others, joy makes people want to know your God. It's like you become an ambassador for Christ through just having this atmosphere, this presence. People see you and they see how joyful you are, even in the midst of bad situations. Like, want to know your God. And joy gives strength, like strength from God, and not easily weighed down by circumstances, by things that easily make people to get sad, things that easily make people to give up. If you desire this kind of joy, make sure you're in constant fellowship with God. Don't live outside the presence of God. There's something my spiritual father usually says, like, it's always like God can be real to you more than the person sitting beside you. Like, you can be aware of the presence of God around you 24/7. Like, everywhere you go, you know that God is here. From that presence, you begin to derive this joy. It comes. It's in sync. There are other things that comes from God's presence, from being in His presence. But in this video, we are concentrating on only joy.
You should also ask God for joy. Like, you should pray to Him. If you're not happy with your life, you're not joyful, you're not a joyful person, you can ask God. You can ask God for anything. Just pray to Him, ask Him for His joy, that you want His joy to fill you up. So we've come to the end of today's episode, and hope that we inspired you to continually dwell in the presence of God and remain joyful. And we hope that we also inspired you to be a carrier of the joy of the Lord anywhere you go to. Her birthday is in
Why
a week's
did I
time. I'm going to tell them. Her birthday, so please send me your wishes, please. She has to make noise about it. Chiamaka, cut this down. She doesn't want me to say it, but I don't care. So please send me your wishes, your gifts. She's open to receive.
the gifts.
If you need help, I will be available.
Right?
So please, so thank you so much for watching today. See you next time.
Bye.